नमस्सुन्दरनाथाय तस्मै हालास्य वासिने चतुष्षष्टि विधालीला येनाकारी भुवस्तले श्रीमत्सुन्दरनाथस्य देवीं शफरलोचनां कलये हृदये नित्यं कदम्ब वनवासिनी पूतं स्वतः पूततरं ततो यद्गाङ्गं पयः शङ्करमौलिसङ्गात् तत्पातु मातः प्रणयापराधपादाहतैः पूततमं ततो नः। वेदाहमेतं पुरुषं महान्तम् इत्यामनन्तो निगमाः स गर्वं श्वानः कृता येन स एव देवः वर्ण्यः कथं वाङ्मनसातिवर्ति। Kavi actually starts this, he says this shloka in the sense, the subject matter of this, mostly when you look at a lot of Kavis, you must have seen Raghuvamsha or Yadavabhyudayam or any kavyam that you have come across. Usually they start off with a few shlokas on how the subject matter is great. If you take Kalidasa's Raghuvamsha, you will see he will say, Kva Surya Prabhavo Vamshaha Kvacha Alpa Vishayamatihi Titirshuhu Dustaram Mohat Udipena Asmi Sagaram. So where is the subject matter of Surya Vamsha and where is my Alpa Buddhi? So that's how he starts. In the same way, here before starting the second Sarga, in the second Sarga, he starts off with the Pandidesha Varnana. And before that, he wants to say about how the subject matter, which is Shiva, he is Vang Manasa Ativarti. And the particular Veda mantra that he uses here, it is found in Purusha Suktam, it is found in Bhagavatam, Mahabharatam, and you also find it in Shvetashvatara Purusha Suktam, of course, occurs in all four Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Sama, and Atharva Veda. It has different versions. Some words are different. But this Vedaham etam mahantam purusham mahantam Aditya Varnam tamasaf parastat tameva viditva atimrityumeti nanyaf pantha vidyate ayanaya. This is the shloka that is there in Shvetashvatara where the Rishi Shvetashvatara, he says proudly that, I know that great Purusha. So which means Upanishad declares that I can understand or I know that mighty being which is Purusha. Vedaham etam purusham. Purusham ityukte atra paramatma drishtigochare vartamanaha paramatma eshaha. Sayeva pratyagatmani sakshirupena yaha atma jive vartate saha eshaha paramatma eva prati shariram jivarupena vidyate iti aham veda. I understand that. Iti nigamaha sagarvam amanantaha. The Nigamaha Vedas talk about this Paramatma in a very haughtily or in a very prideful manner, right? But then they cannot understand completely the range of Paramatma. Even himself, he himself does not know the range. In Bhagavatam, he would say, Paramatma himself does not know his own range, it seems. Param na janati iti. He doesn't know his own mahima. So how would Vedas know, which have come from him? And these Vedas have been made into dogs. That is, if you look at Dattatreya's iconography, he is followed by dogs, and they are supposed to be the Vedas. They are representative of the Vedas. And in the sense, they follow the God everywhere, and their tatparyam is God, is Brahma, Paramatma. So Vedanam tatparyam, Vedanam, the existence of Veda itself is to follow the Paramatma. That's the representation. It's only, it's not a literal form of dog that the Vedas have been made into dogs. Tathana. It is only a symbolic representation of how, if you look at a dog, it will follow its master wherever he goes. Tatha atrapi Vedaha, their tatparyam is to only talk about the Paramatma. And so whatever the Paramatma does, in whatever form, these Vedas follow that. Right? Even in Dakshinamurti iconography, you will find, Vriddha Shishya Gurur Yuva. So, Vriddhaha Shishyaha Tatra. So, the four Shishyas are supposed to be the four Vedas, representing the four Vedas. They may be ancient, but the God is still Yuva, Paramatma is Yuva, and he is still in a nascent stage, and people are trying to still understand that Paramatma. The more and more you try to understand, only you will become old. Parantu Paramatmanaha Sharirantu Yuva Iva Vartate. It's always new, which means you are not, nobody can just say that, okay, I know Paramatma. It is an old concept. Tatha vaktum na shakyate. Sarvatha tatra nutana tattvam eva vidyate yataha tatstu sampurnataya jnatum na shaknumaha. That is the reason why it is young. Dakshinamurti is young, and the Shishyas, Vedas, are supposed to be old there. So, Vedaham etam Purusham Mahantam iti amanantaha nigamaha. This is a very difficult shloka to explain in a very short span of time. Katham Vang Manasa Ativarti Devaha Varnyaha. So, etadrisham Vacham Manasacha Agocharaha Devaha. He does not come within the range of perception of words or the mind. Then how can that God be described? How can I try to describe that Lord? Iti Ishwarasya Mahima atra prastuyate. The next shloka is Shabdeshu cha artheshu param yatishye tatha yatha mam guravo vininyuhu chamatkritim tatra katham vidhasye namatkritihi yat kramate tadamshe. Devastutyanantaram अत्र गुरून् स्तौति येन प्रकारेण इति चेत् गुरूणां शिक्षणपथम् अनुसृत्य एव शब्दार्थयत्नं करोति कविः. Whatever paths that the teachers, his gurus have taught him, either right from childhood you have Apay Dikshita or Girvana Yogendra, or the different gurus that he has had in his life. If you look at Uddhava Avadhuta Gita, in Bhagavatam also it is there, you will find that there are 24 preceptors, each, right from a spider or a bee, a flower, a courtesan. There are so many people in this world who can be your teacher. Tasmat karana tatra bahuvachanena guravaha iti nirdishtam. So, shabdeshu, arteshu, aham tatha yatishye yatha guravaha mam vininyuhu. Vininyuhu ityukte tatra vinayati iti latlakare, vininyuhu lit lakare vartate. Vinayati, it does not mean humbling me. Humble, vinayaha iti, we usually take the word vinaya to mean humble. This word here is not humble. Actually, in Kavyas, if you find humble is more like not feeling proud. No, tathana, teaching. You'll take it as to mean teaching. In many, Kalidasa's usage actually has a lot of other things. Removal, vinayati, iti apanayati, ityarthe api saha upayojayati. Tadanantaram vininyuhu athava vinayati ityukte tatra shikshayati. He teaches. Tadrisha arthe upayujyate atra. So, yatha mam guravaha vininyuhu, yatha mam atmanam kavim, guravaha acharyaha vininyuhu ashikshan. In the manner in which the teachers, the preceptors have led me or taught me. Tatha, in that same manner, aham yatishye, I will make an effort. Param yatishye, param ityukte bhrisham yatishye, atyantam yatishye. I will make a great effort to use the words and artha in the manner in which my gurus have taught me. So, shabdeshu, artheshu cha, in the matters of words and meaning, shabda vishaye, subantanam, tingantanam cha vishaye, pada artheshu, pratipadya arthanam, vachyarthanam cha vishaye, yatishye, yatnam karomi, karishyami. Katham yatha guravaha mam vininyuhu, yatha te ashikshan, tadrisha ritya eva, ahamapi yatnam karomi. Tatra chamatkritim katham vidasye. So in this manner, because I am following the path that my gurus have laid, how can I create a wonder in this effort? I'm only following what my gurus tell me. There is nothing new that I'm creating. Every person who teaches will understand this, because the moment you move from being a student to a teacher, you cannot escape that huge, the guru is like one alamaram. He's like a banyan tree there. That is a shadow that you don't want to escape also. You do not want to do that because you want to follow that same pattern. You have understood that pattern really well, and you know why, because it has worked really well in you. And so you will follow that same pattern in your life also. So there is no wonder there. If someone is teaching really well, it's because they have a good parampara there, right? So chamatkritim tatra katham vidasye, even writing. So what is the wonder that is created here in this effort? How can I create something ascharyam? Katham aham karishye asmin vishaye shabdartha yojana vishaye grathana vishaye na matkritihi tadamshe yat kramate na matkritihi. So if by chance adrishtavashat daivayatnat yadi tatra chamatkara amshaha vartate tadamshe ityukte purvasmat, you have to take this chamatkriti from here and then do it. So chamatkriti amshe kramate, yat kramate, any little aspect, yat yaha vishaya. Sorry. Yaha vishayaha tadamshe chamatkriti amshe chamatkriti leshe yava vishayaha kramate gacchati. So if there is any little bit of wonder that is present in prachalati chet mama vishaye mama krito, in my work, if there is even a little bit of wonder, then na matkritihi. He's very clear. That is not mine. Everybody would say, it's what I have done. Tathana vadati kavihi atra. He says if there is anything that is very surprising or very beautiful in my work, it is not my job at all, because I'm only following what my gurus have taught me. Shabdeshu cha artheshu param yatishye tatha yatha mam guravo vininyuhu chamatkritim tatra katham vidasye tadamshe yat kramate tatu na matkritihi. It is not my work here. So it is all good things are because of my gurus. Kva aham, kva kavyam, kaviraja sadhyam, kva aham, kva shambhuho nigamai ragamyaha, nishankam evam vidapi pravarte nirlajjate devi tava prasadat. No. Sarvamapi, vangmanasa agocharaha parameshwaraha. So how can I describe him? He starts off with that. And then he says, if I write anything, then it is because of my gurus. Then what is this sahasam that you are making? You say that every word that comes out of your mouth is your gurus. You also say that the subject matter is so great that I cannot describe the Parameshwara, who has not been, even the Vedas have not described him. Tarihi ko aham iti, no, arthapatya. Then here he says, Kva aham, where am I? Kvacha kavyam, where is that poetry which has to be written only by Kaviraja? Kaviraja sadhyam. Kavirajabihi, kavishu rajanaha ye santi taihi. Kavirajabihi eva sadhyam. Sadhyam ityukte nirmana arham, nirmana yogyam. Sadhaitum yogyam. Kavyam is something that can be written only by great poets. Where is that kavyam and where am I? Ahantu ati kshudra kavihi. He is in the 16th century, so he has seen great. He has read a lot of great poetry and he has seen the works of great poets. So he says kavyam is something that has to be handled only by great poets. Even his grandfather has been a poet. The last shloka, he describes his grandfather also there. Appaya Dikshita. So Kaviraja Sadhyam, Kavirajabihi Mahakavibihi Sadhyam Nirmana Arham Kavyantu Kutra Virtate Ahantu Kutra. Where am I? Kwa Aham. Now let's move on to the subject matter. Now one is Kshudra Kavi. So I am a Kshudra Kavi here. And how can I write such a poetry which can be only accomplished by kings of poets? Now, where am I? And where is this Shambhu who is incomprehensible even to the Vedas? So, kwa aham, kwa nigamaihi agamyaha Shambhu. Nigamaihi. Nigamyate anena iti nigamyate athava jnayate anena iti nigamaha vedaha. Yaihi vedaihi eva parameshwaraha jnayate jnatum arhaha taihi vedaihi eva saha agamyaha iti chet ahantu kinchidnyaha. See, parameshwaraha tu sarvajnyaha tasya nishvasitam vedaha. So in I think Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, you have the Shruti is Veda Karanatva. Parameshwara is the Utpatti Karanam for Veda. Asya Nishvas Ahato Asya Mahato Bhutasya Nishvasitam Etat Rigvedo Yajurvedaha Samavedo Atharvangirasaha. Iti Brihadaranyaka Upanishadi asti. So Asya Mahato Bhutasya, from this great personality, the Vedas have just come out as a breath. That is, it is just as it is very easily he has done it like breathing. Breathing is not an effort that we have to make. It is an unconscious thing. So tatha, unconsciously, the Vedas have just come out into existence from this great personality, from Paramatma. Tatha asti Shambhuhu. And then at the same time, yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. Iti Taittiriyopanishadi. From where words come back without describing him, from where the mind also cannot attain him. Tadrishaha ayam agamyaha. Vedaihi eva, nigamaihi eva, agamyaha, jnatum gamana ayogyaha, avagantum ashakyaha, eshaha Shambhuhu. Kwa vidyate, where is he and where am I? Ubhautu na ghatete. It's impossible to connect both of this, but still I'm trying to do a poetry which is only handled by Mahakavi. And kinchidnyaha aham, I know only very little, and I am trying to comprehend someone who is a sarvajna. So the disparity, mahad antaram vidyate, mahan bhedaha vidyate ubhayoho vishayoho. So why are you then proceeding into this? Do you know this really well? Evam vit api. I know this really well. Evam vit etadrisha jnanam vidyate mai. Evam vedmi iti evam vit. Evam janannapi aham pravarte. Nishankam pravarte tattu. I am fearlessly entering into this world of describing Shiva. Now, how can he enter into this world? Nishankam pravarte. I start on this. I embark on this adventure of describing him. Kimartham, katham, kutra dhairyam, nirlajjate devi. So his the goddess here is nirlajjata. Nirlajjata itikte lajja rahityam. That is the quality of being without any shame, shamelessness. Saeva devata atra nirlajjata iti strilinga padam khalu. So lajja nirgata lajja yasmate iti nirlajjaha. Nirlajjasya bhavaha nirlajjata. The quality of not having any shame. Saeva devata atra. So nirlajjate devi tava prasada deva evam aham pravarte. In Vedanta Deshika, in Yadavabhyudayam also he says apatrapaha. Anye apahaseyuhu. Anye apahaseyuhu. The others will ridicule me. Iti trapayeva na vidyate. Iti shame. He does not have any lajja that others will laugh at such an effort. In Raghuvamsha, he says, no, Manda Kaviyasha Prarti, Udbahuriva Vamanaha. If a small person tries to get Pramshulabhye Palayamahadu, Udbahuriva Vamanaha. I am trying to get a fruit which can be only got by tall people. I am a small person here trying to attain that fruit. Tarihi sarve apahaseyu. Khalu? They will only look at you and ridicule you. Tadrisha yatnaha kriyate maya atra. So, how is that possible? He nirlajjate devi. Nirlajjate iti sambodhana pratamatra. Tari, he devi, he nirlajjate, shamelessness, tatha impudence, you can say. Enna oru dhairyam, sahasam abdingralya. So, it's like that. Because of that nirlajjata, manasi vartate iti karanat, tadrisha nirlajjatayaha prasadat, by the grace of that goddess, nishankam pravarte, I am able to enter into this venture fearlessly. Happily, I am getting into this. Kvaham, kva kavyam, kva kavirajya sadhyam, kvaham, kva kavyam, kaviraja sadhyam, kvaham, क्व शंभुः निगमैरगम्यः निश्शङ्कम् एवं विदपि प्रवर्ते निर्लज्जते देवि तव प्रसादात् दत्ते त्वया वाङ्मय रत्नकोशे. Now he goes on to his इष्टदेवता. विषयः तु शिवः भवेत्, परन्तु यदि काव्यं लेखनीयं तत्र सम्पूर्णतया देवी प्रपत्तिः आवश्यकी. He has to surrender himself completely to Meenakshi. And that is when he is going to be able to write this poetry. So he says, protect me. Datte tvaya vangmaya ratnakoshe vikriya bhuktam kila bhuktameva shishtam tvadangryoho punararpayeyam dayasva Meenakshi pureva mahyam. The way he addresses Devi is very beautiful. The moment Meenakshi comes to his mind, there is a softness in his approach, in his this thing that is completely different from when he addresses the Kukavi, or there is a sarcasm all there. That's fine. Even Shambhu, he immediately, Anjali Baddhaha Saha Shivam Evam Pashyati Agamyaha Saha Katham Varnayeyam Ityadikam Karoti Saha Kintu Meenakshi Vishayaha Yada Tatra Vartate, his attitude itself become very different, and he looks at her as his mother. His daughter's name was Meenakshi. He named his daughter Meenakshi apparently. So Datte Tvaya, He Devi Meenakshi, Tvaya Datte Vangmaya Ratna Koshe. He's aware of what he has done till now. He's written a lot of works, and for the sake of others, Vikriya. He has used all that Vangmayam that she has given. Tvaya datte, Devya datte, tatra saptami vibhakti, natu dvivachanam. So Vangmaya ratna koshe, yat tvaya dattam, kim tat Vangmaya ratnam. Vangmayantu Meenakshi Devya eva dattam. It's only, there were many shlokas that we have seen that it is the grace of Devi by which we have that creativity in us, right? So Vangmayam ityukte Vak Swarupam. The words and meanings have to be graced upon by the Lord or the goddess, whoever is your Ishtadevata. Tadha Vangmayameva atra ratna rupena vidyate tadrisha ratnanam koshaha. Not one word and one meaning that she has given or anything. She has given the entire kosham to Nilakanta Dikshita. So Vangmayam nama ratnam. Vangmayameva ratnamatra rupakalankaraha. So this words or the word of speech is a ratnam, and that the repository or the treasure of gems, which are words. Tadrisha ratna kosham tvaya dattameva koshaha dattaha tasmin koshe yani ratnani vidyante teshu kinchit swikritya kanichit swikritya vipanya vikriya. He sells some of those and has enjoyed it. So he has taken some of the words from that kosham. He has used it in the form of maybe shlokas, or he has praised probably the kings or something. He has done some work and he has sold it in some manner, or he uses his words. He has not probably written kavyas, but he uses his the play of words. As a minister, he must have written a lot of writs, that this whatever, vak tu avashyakameva tatra yadi amatya rupena saha. If he was a king in a if he was a minister in a king's court, he has to give advices, and that advice is also part of the vangmayam that has been given by Devi. If there is any little bit of intelligence in Nilakanta Dikshita, that is the grace of Meenakshi here. And he has used that in his position. And that position gives him money, right? So, tad vangmayam upayujya tattu vikriya, ratnani vikriya. He has sold it in some manner in return for a lot of bhogas. So he wanted to live properly, maybe, bring up his children, or for all those things. For survival, he needed to use those words in his capacity as a prime minister to Tirumala Nayaka. And vikriya, he sold those words, and bhuktam, anything that came in return for that, he has enjoyed it. Now, if it is enjoyment, it has to stay somewhere. But it is not, because tattu vishaya sambandha, loka vishaya sambandha, natu atma vishayaha athava bhakti vishayaha nasti tatra. Those ratnas he used and he got enjoyment in return is just mere transient enjoyments. They are not their bhoga. They are not the ultimate sukham that will be everlasting. This is bhogam. So, bhuktameva kila, bhuktam iti, the second bhuktam will take the meaning of nashtam. Bhuktam ityukte, it is completely gone. So, for example, you take rice and you eat it, you're not going to find it in any other form there. That is gone, that's it. And after 3 hours, the effect of it is also gone. You will ask, oh, did I eat? When did I eat? Oh, that was 3 hours ago. That was the last meal. Tattu gatameva, nashtameva khalu. That is what he is trying to say here. So, tvaya datte vangmaya ratna koshe vidyamanani ratnani vikriya. Selling all of those things, bhuktam, whatever dhanyadi rupena, bhoga rupena, yat anubhutam, bhuktam, tattu bhuktameva kila. It is completely nashtameva khalu. Natu kenapi anya rupena parinamya tatra sthayi asti. It is not sthiram, it is not eternal. Shishtam. No, there are some more left in that Vangmayam that Meenakshi has given. He has not used completely. There are still certain words that are there. Tvad angriyoho punaha arpayeyam. I have whatever rest is there. So that's why people feel this must have been his last work, or at least towards, when he must have gone and settled down after Tirumala Nayaka's court, he must have gone and settled down in his village. Then he must have written, so all my official duties are over. Now, whatever little intellect that I have, the words and meanings that I have, I'm going to place it at your feet. Tvad angriyoho punaha arpayeyam. Punaha itikte shishtam punaha. Shishtam punaha yat bhuktat avashishtam vidyate. The remaining, whatever is remaining, that I offer at your feet. Tvad angriyoho, tava angriyoho padayoho, angri ityukte padam. So I offer it, samarpana rupena nikshipeyam. I place it at your feet in the form of an offering. Pura iva mahyam dayasva. Just as before, please protect me. Dayati iti rakshane dhatuhu. Raksha, the meaning is raksha there. Mahyam dayasva is not actually correct here. It should be either, because dayati is a sakarmaka dhatu, and you should have either mam dayasva athava mama dayasva. You can have a shesha shashti there, or you can have karmani shashti, karma there. Mam dayasva athava mama dayasva iti vaktum shakyate. Kimartham atra mahyam dayasva iti kavina uktam iti na jnayate maya. probably there is some small this thing, or matkrite dayasva iti prayaha saha vadati. That is, for the sake of me, you have to protect whatever is remaining. I have placed prayaha tatha bhavet shishtam yat tava angryoho arpayeyam tat shishtam mahyam matkrite dayasva. That makes more sense now. Puraiva, just as before, please protect all that words that I have placed in front of you for my sake, so that you can give me moksham. You have to protect that intellect that I have. Don't make me again go and sell it to someone else. It is a supreme surrender in the sense that you have to take care of whatever I have placed at your feet. This is more in the style of Nilakanta Dikshita. So we can take that shishtam again in the third sentence also and say pura iva mahyam shishtam dayasva. I hope it's clear. So datte tvaya vangmaya ratna koshe vikriya bhuktam kila bhuktam eva shishtam tadangryoho punararpayeyam dayasva meenakshi pura iva mahyam. The last shloka in this sarga, usually in Mahakavyas, every sarga follows 1 meter, and then at the end of that, the chandas changes. The vrittam has to be different. So some kavis adopt 2-3 shlokas as different meters, but some stick to just one shloka. They use most of the shlokas in 1 meter, and then just the last shloka, they change the meter. Here also Nilakanta Dikshita changes the last shloka to Shardula Vikriditam. It is a bigger meter with 17 syllables. So the 19. Yeah, ama. 4, 5, 6. 6 3s are 18, 19. Okay. So usually you split it into ganas. Suryashvaihi, the lakshanam for Shardula Vikriditam is Suryashvaihi masajas tataha sa guravaha Shardula Vikriditam. The many popular shlokas that you know, the most famous is Gita Dhyana Shlokam. Parthaya pratibodhitam bhagavata narayanena swayam. That follows this. The way it is split, there is an yati after 12 syllables. Yati is you take a pause there, and then you say the next 7 syllables. So Surya Ashva. Surya Ashvaihi iti prathamam tatra lakshane yat vidyate. Tattu, it shows where the yati or a break has to come in the meter. So when you are reciting the shloka, if you know Gita shlokam, you will say Parthaya pratibodhitam bhagavata narayanena swayam. So bhagavata narayanena swayam, you split at the 12, and then you say the last 7 separately. In the same way, here also you will split, stop it at 12, and then the next 7 will be separate. So Shabda yad vadanam prapadya mrudutam ashasate anyadrishin. That becomes a separate one. Artha yad dishana pravaha patanat icchanti jignasyatam. It's easier to understand the flow of a meter when you know the yati. If there is a yati in that meter, then it is good to understand that yati. Okay, and these ganas, I'm sure you all know about it. This is a ma gana where all of those are guru. Shabda yad iti guru trayam tatra vidyate, and then vadanam is ma sa gana. So the next, if you look, this talks about the yati, and then ma sa jaha, ma sa ja. I have made a mistake here. This should be laghu, guru, and then laghu. Yeah. Ma sa ja, and then this is a tagana, if I remember right. Yamataraja. This is also another tagana, tataha. There are 2 taganas, and then there is one extra guru at the end. So ma, sa, ja, ta, and tha. This is how it is arranged. So we'll go to the shloka now. Shabda yad vadanam prapadya mrudutam ashasate anyadrishim artha yad dishana pravaha padanad icchanti jignasyatam yad kirti sprihaya shivopi nigaman grathnati sargadishu prachastan kavita pitamaha pada rudhan kavin prastumaha. Kavin prastumaha. That's your main sentence here. Vayam iti kavihi atmanam vadati. So vayam kavin prastumaha. We praise that kavi. Here you can take it in both ways. One is you can take it as mahakavayaha athava appaya dikshitendrana saha vadati ityapi vaktum shakyate. Because of the word pitamaha here, there can be two interpretations. One is that it is his actual grandfather who is Appaya Dikshita, or you can also take it as all the ancient kavis, all the mahakavis who have come before me are like my grandfathers only, no? Pitru Paitamahadayaha evate athava kavita loke te pitamahatvena pujyaha vartante ityapi vaktum shakyate. So we can take it as either great poets, or in a when you want to address someone with respect, you talk about them in bahuvachanam. Kavayaha dikshitendraha iti tatra bahumanattvena bahuvachanam upayujyate. So kavin prastumaha vayantu kavin prastumaha idmahe athava prashamsamaha. Yeah. Prashamsamahe. Okay. So, prachaha kavin prastumaha. Each one of these are going to be an adjective to kavin here. So, the first, we'll take it as tan. If you look at it here, tan prachaha kavin prastumaha. Tan, those. Yatra tu tat shabdaha vidyate. We will know that there should be a yat shabda, yat clause before it. Yatra yatra tan iti yadi vayam vadamaha yat shabdaha nasti chedapi tatra we have to take it as a dhvani. If in some shlokas you say oh te panditaha iti yadi vadamaha ye purvam prasiddhaha athava yat kimapi uktam, but we have in the shloka we have yat shabda in the first 3 lines. So there is no problem. If in any shloka you find a tat shabda, you try to understand it as a dhvani, indicating something that should that we already know, or that is something that is famous. So tan prachaha kavin prastumaha. We praise, or I praise, or I worship that great kavi. Prachaha can mean both. One is pranchaha, purvakalinaha kavayaha iti arthaha api svikriyate, athava prachaha ityukte uttama ye vartante, uttame kavayaha. So those who are all great poets, uttamaha, or those who are purvakalinaha kavayaha. So tan kavin, the word here prachaha, you decline it as prang, pranchau, pranchaha, prancham, pranchau, prachaha. Iti dvitiya bahuvachane prachaha iti padam. So kavin, prachaha kavin prastumaha. Kete kavita pitamaha pada arudhan. Those who have arudha, those who have ascended the padavi, the padam, or the position of being a grandfather of poetry. Kavita pitamaha. You call Bhishma as the pitamaha, right? We have in Carnatic music also we have this usage. Bhishma pitamaha of Carnatic music we call Shamangudi Srinivasayar, who lived for a very long time and a great musician. We call him as the pitamaha of Carnatic music. So the word pitamaha indicates that he is a person who lives for a long time and he has also graced the world of poetry. So those Mahakavis who have lived for a long time and who have also shown themselves to be an exemplar in that particular field. So Kavita Pitamaha, the grandfathers of poetry, the great persons of poetry who have the position of being worshipped by everybody who even ventures into kavita. The moment you think of writing poetry, the first few the persons who have to come to your mind are Kalidasa, Bhavabhuti, Vedanta Deshika, someone or the other, Bhavabhuti, who's that, Bharavi, Magha. If you cannot think of these people, then you're not even entering into the world of poetry. You have to have these people in your mind and then only start writing your poetry. First poetry when you venture into it. So tarhi tan kavin prastumaha ye kavita pitamaha pada arudhan tan kavin prastumaha. So those who have Kalidasadi Mahakavin athava Appaya Dikshitendran, my own grandfather, who is my grandfather and who is also taught me this poetry. Kavita Vishayetu Saha Pitamaha Asti Ityukte Saha Mahakavihi Asti. Look at the poetries of Appaya Dikshita, you will understand. The sweetness that is there in his poetry is just something out of the world. There is a divinity and a sweetness in his poetry. That's something you have to experience to understand this word. And he is also, by relation, also, Kutumbaritya Api Sayeva Pitamaha Nilakanta Dikshitendrana. Tan Kavita Pitamaha Pada Arudhan, one who has ascended the throne of being a grandfather of poetry. Now he is qualifying him with Yat Pada in three ways. One is Shabda, the next is Artha, the next is Kirti. With the words and the meanings, he has also attained a fame. Now, all these three are put in three different stanzas. So one is Shabdaha yadvadanam prapadya mrudutam ashasate anyadrishim. Shabdaha yadvadanam prapadya. Yadvadanam yasya vadanam mukham prapadya prapya. Attaining whose mouth? Yasya kavehe vadanam mukham prapya. Anyadrishim mrudutam ashasate. Ashasate expect. They want. They wish to get some strange softness. Anyadrishim mrudutam. Anyadrik ityukte something that is completely different. It is not it's not similar to what people have written before, but it is something totally different, something strange. The mruduta. So the softness, the words which go to Appaya Dikshita's mouth, they become completely soft, or they attain a softness in a completely, he might have used harsh letters, but still when they roll out of your tongue, the way they have arranged, or the letters that are there before, the letters that are there after, so that won't even sound very harsh. The words will be very soft there. Arkadrona Prabhriti Kusumaihi. When you look at Atmarpana Stuti, very beautiful piece of work. Just 50 shlokas. The surrender and the way he talks about Shiva in those 50 shlokas is just out of the world. He'll say, what we expect from you, we want to give some small arka pushpam. Tumbappu, we say in Tamil. There is a very tiny white flower, which Shiva is supposed to like it very much, it seems. That flower grows in the corner. When you walk, you will find those small plants and these white, tiny flowers that come out of it. Nobody will even look at it twice. But then those are supposed to be offered to Shiva. He loves those small flowers. Arkadrona Prabhriti Kusumaihi and Vilvam, some leaves you put for him. And then what are you asking in return? Moksha Samrajya Lakshmi. You are asking for the Samrajya Lakshmi of Moksha. You want moksha by just giving small, tiny things. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Ome bhaktya prayachati. So this Arkadrona Prabhriti Kusumam is there in Atmarpana Stuti, written by Appaya Dikshita. So the words Prabhriti is probably a difficult word. Moksha Samrajya Lakshmihi is a huge Samastapadam there. But still, when it goes into the mouth of Ape Dikshita and comes out, there is some sort of a softness that you don't expect from letters like bha, tha, dha, and all that. So, kamapi anyadrishim, kamapi anirvachaniyam, athava anupamam mrudutam ashasate. They expect or they want some very, or they become very soft, and there is a strange softness that is there in the words that come out of Ape Dikshita's mouth. So, yad vadanam prapadya prapya anyadrishim mrudutam ashasate. Next is meaning. Words, fine. Next is meaning. Now, how does these meaning, what do they want? Yad dishana pravaha patanat arthaha jignasyatam icchanti. Meanings, when they have fallen into the mind or intellect of Ape Dikshita, they want to attain a state of being worthy of understanding. See, people should think that, the moment you read a shloka and you get a meaning out of it, that meaning should be something, okay, I want to understand the meaning of this. Tatha jignasyam. Jignasyam itukte jnatum arham athava jnatum yogyam. Jignasyata jnatum yogyata yesham arthanam vidyate tadrisha arthaha eva Ape Dikshitendranam manasi buddhau vidyante. Anyadrishaha, the rest are not present. Only those meaning which want to be understood by everybody. Those meaning. It may be even a normal meaning in other people's mind, but when this meaning, this artha or this object goes into the mind of Ape Dikshita, that transforms into something which people want to know. Yet dishana pravaha patanat, yasya dishana ityukte buddhihi, buddhehe pravahe patitaha, kaha arthaha. Tari kaschana padarthaha vidyate, sa padarthaha tu asya Ape Dikshitendrasya buddhau vartate aduna. Buddhau vartate iti chet jignasyatam icchanti. They transform into a state of being worthy of understanding. You might think that, like for example, I said arka or tumbapu, that flower is something that is on the road and you might have even stamped it so many times. You might think that it is a padartha that is not worthy. But when it went into the mind of Ape Dikshita, oh, this has so much of greatness here. You want to understand the value of that flower because you give that flower in return for moksha. So, arthaha yad dhishana pravaha patanat jignasyatam icchanti. They want to attain that state of being worthy of understanding. Etattu jignasyam iti sarvaihi prashamsaniyata padavim apnuvanti arthaha. Now, next one is, with these words and meaning, now what happens? He has attained a great fame. Ape Dikshita has attained a fame now. Famous. He has become famous. Shiva himself wants to attain that fame, it seems. Atratu atishayoktireva. But Ape Dikshita is also spoken of as an avatara of Shiva in many places. So, Shivaha api yat kirti sprihaya yasya kirtehe spriha vartate vancha. He, on account of a desire to attain Ape Dikshita's fame, Shiva has also written the Vedas, it seems. This is his, see, everybody who hero worships someone will always put them on a pedestal, right? And it is a valid pedestal that Nilakanta Dikshita is putting him on. Yaha tu sakshat parameshwarasya avatara bhutaha Ape Dikshitaha. Tantu, he puts him at a place where even Shiva wants to attain that position, it seems. Shivaha api nigamane sargadishu sarga adishu pratyeka sarga arambhe sargasya adihi sarga arambaha. At every srishti aramba, at the beginning of every creation, Shiva also tries to write the Vedas. Nigamana grathnati, Vedana grathnati, yat kirti sprihaya, in order to get the fame that Ape Dikshita has. or through Apayadikshita, Shiva has attained a fame, and he has also written these Vedas in order to attain a fame through Apayadikshita's fame. So, Yat Kirti Sprihaya, the Shaivism regained its foothold because of Apayadikshita. Shaiva Siddhanta was at a decline during that time because Vaishnava Sampradaya was slowly gaining more prominence than Shaiva Siddhanta, and Shaiva Siddhanta had been reduced to only certain pockets of India at that point of time, and Apayadikshita revived Shaiva Siddhanta and re-established by writing a lot of works there. So Shivaha api Nigaman Prathamam Sarga Adishu, he at the beginning of creation, Shiva had written the Vedas, and he attained a kirti by through Apayadikshita. Yat kirti sprihaya yasya Apayadikshita dwara athava yena kirtihi. You can split that samasta padam in two ways. One is yasya Apayadikshitendrasya kirtim vanchati eshaha Shivaha tasmat karanat yatha Apayadikshitaha granthan likati तथा शिवः अपि पूर्वमेव वेदान् अलिखत्. So he must have written the Vedas because Apayadikshita got a lot of fame because of this. More than that, I think it is yena kirti sprihaya yadvara Apayadikshitendra dwara swa kirti vanchaya. He wanted a fame in this world, that is, he wanted to be re-established in this world. And hence, at the beginning of every creation, Shiva wrote the Vedas. In the sense, he was the Paramatma, as the Paramatma Bhuta Rupena Sayeva Shivaha Eva Atmaswarupaha iti Apayadikshita establishes Shiva as the Paramatma in his Shaiva Siddhanta. He is the ultimate supreme God. So, yat kirti sprihaya iti tatra yena kirtehe spriha kirti spriha. Yena kriti spriha apayadikshitendrena kirti spriha vartate. So, the desire to attain a fame through Apayadikshita was there for Shiva, and that's why he also wrote the Vedas in order to establish that Shiva is the supreme entity here. So, yat kirti sprihaya shivopi nigamana grathnati sargadishu tan, those that kavi, tan kavina kavita pitamaha pada arudhan prachaha kavina vayam stumaha. So, he ends this sarga with a stotra again. Usually, it follows upakrama upasamhara technique where what you start off with, you end with that too. This particular sarga itself can be a separate, section by itself. In the sense, it starts off with a lot of stotras and then gives it's a small condensed version of Kavya Prakasha or Dhvanyaloka. It gives the rasa nishpatti. There was a discussion on Dhvani, what is a good poetry, what is a bad poetry, who is a good kavi, who is a bad poetry. Loke katham kukavayaha vartante, uttama kavine katham loke janaha pashyanti, ityadikam sarvam uktva punaha stotra rupena gurun vishayam devim cha stutim kritva samapayati. He ends it with his praise of his guru and his grandfather, who is Apayadikshita. This shloka fits Apayadikshita much more than Mahakavis. So I would take it as a praise for Apayadikshita here. Any questions? You can raise your hand and I'll unmute. Okay, I don't think there are any questions. So we'll end this. Namaste.
Namaste, madam. Can
Namaste,
you hear me? Yes.
I can.
The third line you explained, Yat kirti sprihaya shivopi nigaman yadgnapi
Grathnati sargadishu.
So can I take it this way? That is, as Shiva like Shiva wanting to become as famous as Apayadikshata, he already composed all the Vedas. Is it so?
Yes. Yeah.
Because
Yes.
thinking that in future there will be another poet who will grab all the fame and name of Shiva, he has already done that. Is it that or? Because Vedas were composed earlier.
Yeah, definitely. This is an atishayokti. In the sense, it's an exaggerated statement where Shiva, there is no, or not more than an exaggerated statement. You can say the reason for Shiva's composing the Vedas is in order to attain this fame that Apayadikshata will attain later. That portion is an utpreksha. If you see, it's a sambhavana or a fancy. The reason for composing the Vedas is being fancied by the poet here.
So we should not compare the timings. See, this
timings,
is much later.
Kavyatla you don't compare the timings as such. The anachronism you can't take it. That's why I put it as Apayadikshitendra Dwara. You can take it as he wanted to re-establish himself as the Supreme Lord. Can mean what that can be another meaning also.
Oh, in that way, you are saying Shiva himself again incarnated as Apayadikshata.
Yes.
To equate his fame when he created the Vedas. The
yes.
same thing he got here as Apayadikshata. That is another way.
Another way of interpretation.
Okay. Otherwise, if we take it as a Bhakta or Kavi alone, then you can say that Shiva himself, thinking that he may exceed his fame, he has already created Vedas.
Correct.
So that he can equate himself with Neelakanta. I mean, Apayadikshata.
Yes.
Okay. In a way, you take him as a Bhakta or a Kavi. In another way, as a stream incarnation.
Avatara.
Okay. Both will fit here.
Both will fit here. Yes.
Both will fit here. Oh, thank you, madam. Thank you, madam.
No problem. Vasudevan sir?
Hello. The Dhyana Shlokam of Lalita Sahasranamam also belongs to the Shardula Vigraham. Sindhuraruna Vigraham.
Sindhuraruna Vigraham. Yes.
That's more popular.
Correct.
For that matter, all Dhyana Shlokams more or less belong to this.
Yes. So there will either be Sraddhara or because Shardula Vigraham has 19, Sraddhara has 21.
21. Okay.
One of those
7. Right. Thank you.
Okay. Raman sir?
As you were answering the previous question, couple of Ennappane Ennaiyane ஒரு பாட்டு இருக்கு இல்லையா? Ennappane Ennaiyane. Like looks like Apayadikshita's name befits Shiva's name. And vice versa.
Tamil in many Devarams and all, you'll have Shiva being portrayed as Ayyan. Ayyan. Ama. Devarathla. He is இது. ஆமா. சொல்லுங்க.
இன்னொன்னு சொல்ல வந்தேன். You may have addressed this question before. Shivaleelarnavam story has got is it a replica in Sanskrit from Trivuliyadal Puranam?
So it all came about at the same time. சொன்னேனா first classல அந்த history trace பண்ணும்போது நான் சொல்லிருக்கேன். So I think Trivuliyadal Puranam more or less within a couple of centuries you have the Halasya Mahatmyam, Halasya Puranam, Trivuliyadal Puranam of Paranjordi Aligalar. அதுக்கு முன்னாடி there was another version which was smaller. ஸ்கந்த புராணம் இது எல்லாமே ஒரு மாதிரி உங்களுக்கு the time frame is very similar. The Puranam is a little older. That is the Skanda Puranam is a little older than Nilakanta Dikshita's work. So he must have taken from Halasya Mahatmyam, which is part of Skanda Puranam, and he must have also taken from Paranjodi Aligalar's this thing.
Okay.
Possible. Yes.
Okay. So the stories should be quite similar or identical, right?
It is.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Cholungo. Yeah, It is very identical to that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all, Nanikra. Where are any other questions? Okay, we will resume the second Sarga from next week. Thank you. Namaste.